Hi, I'm Linda K Gifford, sexual abuse survivor and life coach. I've been on here 3 times to date. Some of you know me from more social, political, and spiritual live streaming. But due to the events of many events over the last few years, I began having problems with PTSD from my childhood experiences, resulting in a blackout almost 2 years ago. And that's when I started writing my thoughts down. I decided I needed to write my book. Well, it turned into a book. Basically, I was writing my thoughts to save my own soul. And since then, the journey has become a big one. I'm really grateful for the support that you've shown, and we desperately need you to continue showing your support for Sweet Survivor. Sweet Survivor is a charity that I started, not a charity, it's a rescue fund. The Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund is what it's called. You can find it on GoFundMe and Facebook pages by that name, Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. It is simply money to buy transportation for people who are in crisis right now and need out right now. So would you please support the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund on either GoFundMe page or its Facebook page. Basically, I'm truly alarmed at the direction that we're taking. My whole life I was taking it for granted, that we were improving things and on the right track, and I'm used to dealing, with my own sexual abuse-driven triggers and have developed ways to cope over the years, and also with the help of counseling, which I highly recommend to you if you are someone with PTSD. There are lots of people to talk to. I'm one of them. Message me if you would like one-on-one sessions. I am doing one-on-one life coaching sessions now for a small fee because I also have to eat. And I really, I kind of came into coaching kicking and screaming. These live streams really aren't that easy for me to do, but I feel compelled to do them nonetheless because I feel that I can help. I see that I have helped. I'm going to continue to help. So I'm going to start with my story. I talk around it. If you are interested, you may read the first 7 chapters of my book pinned to the top of the page Linda K Gifford Self-Talk, which is the origination page of this live stream. I also live stream on my page Those Nasty Women Uprise Inc. And we are raising money for political reform, for election reform, for In Citizens United. But self-talk live streams are really geared to 2 things: to being a sexual abuse survivor in today's society, which I have said is like carrying a child through a minefield every day. Although I got used to it, I'm sick of it. And it's suddenly, even the progress we've made is now threatened. With women going against the Equality Act. Do you know the Equal Rights Amendment has been on the table since 1972, I believe? I didn't look that up, but I believe it's 1972 that it's been on the table since, and we still can't pass it. And more than ever, we have women standing in our way. Women saying that granting equal pay and equal opportunity somehow infringes on their religious rights and takes away their freedoms. And obviously it makes no sense. I'm not going to try to make it make sense. I'm tired of just fighting them. So please stand with us. ThoseNastyWomen.com. We launch our custom print store tonight. On my other store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, ThoseNastyWomen.com, and SweetSurvivor.com. Also go there and raise money with all of our jewelry collections going in support of Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund to provide that transportation, and our new Those Nasty Women custom print products will be going, I cross my legs, will be growing for, to ensure that this can't happen again. And that's another thing. I'm off the cuff, off topic. But please start supporting candidates in other states. Right now, it's not about your local races anymore. Right now, we all need to target, and if you go join, follow my page, thosenastywomen.com or Self-Talk, and I also will post any relevant information to help you to follow along with important elections in other states. I send my money to Georgia now, for instance, and for a candidate there, I can't even remember his name, but he's taking on Wackadoodle MTG, I don't even want to say her whole name, who is just indicative of the level of ignorance going on in the world right now. But I'm going to end up doing the live stream that I did last night for Those Nasty Women, and that's not what this is about. This is self-talk, and this is where we're going to get more nitty-gritty. And I keep working around not telling you the truth, so I'm going to do that now. I had to look into the legalities of it, for one thing, because I am suing my abuser. But the big problem for me right now is that many people, I'm getting a little emotional, sorry. I've had people from my hometown, friends of the family, friends of my parents, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know this was happening in your home. And there's become a mistaken impression that it was my father that abused me, and that is not the case. So many also know that it was a brother-in-law that abused me, which is true. But I have two good brother-in-laws that I do not want to hurt. So I'm just going to say it straight up for the first time, that the person who abused me was my oldest sister's first husband. I was their chief babysitter, and it started at a very young age. It started as soon as they got married, as just flirtation. I'm not saying he started raping me at 10 or 11 years old, but this grew and it grew and it grew, and I was in a happy, good family. My parents were good people. They were as attentive as anybody. I mean, my father's a very learned man. So was my mother. I believe my father has 5 degrees, 3 masters and a couple of bachelors. Ancient history, theology, psychology, administration. And he was going back to school at 73 to become an archaeologist when he died. My dad's a wonderful man. I practically worship the ground he walks on. And I honestly believe, which is part of the reason I do this, that finding out what happened to me when he did, which was in 2001, when I released the song Little Girl on my CD. LindaGifford.com is my CD. And there's a song on there called Little Girl, and it's, when that song came out, it was obvious, and I didn't even realize the havoc it would wreak on my family. And it did. And it did. And my mom and dad never attended another family reunion. No one said directly why, but I can do the math. It was too embarrassing. You don't want that to be you. You don't want to overlook the signs that your daughter or son is being abused. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it nearly every day from now on, Monday through Friday. And I've been, for several months now, I've been working with individuals one-on-one in Messenger, to the point that I'm going full-time with that. Well, I'm still going to run my business, of course, Feel Good Fair Trade, and my charity, Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. But if you are someone who wants to talk one-on-one, please do. And if you're someone who wants to come on screen and talk about your experience, or my experience, or your thoughts, or anything, please do so. You can say it in the comments. I actually can see that, and I can bring you on. But, so, there you have it. A person who abused me, I always said, was not a blood family member, but somebody who had close access to me. I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to anyone, considering he brought a girl barely out of high school to his own daughter's high school graduation. And the deal is, what I want you to, the takeaway for you is, yeah, it's going to blow up stuff. It's going to cause some issues, but not exposing the violators for who they are is going to cause way more problems. It already has. And I really, truly blame the women, not just in my life, but in general, more than men, for the situation where we are completely bought, sold, traded, marginalized, commoditized, accessorized. Like I've said before, women are treated around this world like a second thought, like somebody to get the jobs done that men need done. In my last live stream, I believe it was, or the one before that, I talked about orgasms, about how nothing is more important than mine. And that doesn't make me selfish. It makes me a good partner, because if my orgasm isn't the most important thing to me, how is my partner, if he's really worth, he or she, if they are really worth being with, you know, then they're going to be happy at my experience. If someone doesn't want me to experience joy, if they want me to cook and clean, if they want me to be presentable on Sunday, if they want me to impress their boss, if they want my daddy's money, which he doesn't have and he's dead, but I mean, I could give a crap. And so, you know, this was, I think, one of my first live streams. I talked extensively about marriage, and I got so much crap, death threats. I got death threats from some traditional Muslims. I am a spiritual person. I love religion, and Islam is a very beautiful religion that's highly misunderstood. But Islam, just like Christianity, just like a lot of religions, preach this purity. But there's reality. This is your life. This is your body, and it's your vagina, and it's your clitoris, and it's your sexual pleasure. This is the life you get. Are you going to live it by biblical standards? Somebody else's idea of what those are, and we could spend all day talking about how all that shit's just made up shit anyway, but it's been altered through the years, and they picked and chose what they wanted, and blah. You all know that, though, hopefully. So we're not going to go into all that right now. What I am going to say is a refresher course on orgasms. If you're not having them, then you aren't in the right relationship, unless you just don't care, or unless you're sure. If you are disabled, if there's an issue, if you've gotten older and can't get it up anymore or whatever, you're not my target audience. I'm talking about sexually active people, or those who could be, who are in relationships for reasons other than the fact that they're attracted to their partner mentally and physically. So when I talk about bullshit marriages, I'm talking about people who are marrying for any reason other than being mentally and physically attracted to their partners. Now, shockingly enough, that is what we purport. That is what we what's the word I'm looking for? Many women and religions are telling. They're telling all of their children and their followers, you know, that's what you should do. Don't give a damn about your own pleasure. You get what you get. Now, how many men, be honest out there, how many of you men would have a bad sexual experience with someone and keep them and be faithful to them forever? Now, what happens is people get into these marriages, and then they end up feeling guilty because they cheat. They're not happy sexually, so then they cheat. But they're like, oh, but she's so nice. Oh, but she takes great care of the kids. Oh, but he is a provider. Oh, but he, you know, takes great care of the kids. But then they feel the need to cheat. And it's like, well, in that case, if you want to be with that person, maybe you guys should discuss it and have some kind of an open thing where you both can get your sexual satisfaction elsewhere if you choose to stay married. But that's neither here nor there to me. I'm thinking more about my kids and your kids and people embarking on relationships in general, children or adults, willingly embarking on relationships. You should choose for longevity. And I'll tell you right now that no amount of religion or money is going to give you an orgasm. And if you're not having them, then we're going to talk about that too. We're going to get really nitty gritty too about how to do it if you don't know, because it is the single most shocking thing to me to find out that 70 to 80% of women, according to every poll, either have never had or do not have orgasms with a human being. You know, they rely on their tool or don't even have a tool. And that's just like, oh my God, that's sad. And people expect me to be all inhibited because I was abused. It's like, well, guess what? I have been inhibited. I've had very few sexual partners. I've learned self-respect, but it started as fear. One thing we are taught in counseling is to make lemonade. Look for the silver lining. And I can say one of my silver linings was once I got a grip on the fear, and after years of counseling and work, I've arrived at a place that I think puts me over many people I know who were not abused in my satisfaction level. I have in the best relationship I've ever been in my life. I am so crazy satisfied. It's disgusting. It's wonderful. But I couldn't be there if I didn't allow myself to be there. And in the past, I have stopped myself from being there. And many people are stopped by their own families, by their own parents, by their own religion, by their own lack of realization that they and their satisfaction is important. Not just their husbands, not just somebody getting off on you so you can have a kid. You're supposed to be satisfied in life. If you don't want to be satisfied in life, okay, don't watch my live stream because that's all it's about. I spent my life chained and bound sexually. My experiences were all about making my partner get off fast as possible and thinking that I just thought that's, and none of my partners before took the time to tell me that that's not what it was about either. They're like, I'm good with that, you know. Sex and sexual satisfaction, I have learned, is a journey too. And you can't be in the journey unless you're in the headspace with somebody you want to be there with. Not somebody daddy picked, not somebody that's got the right bank or job. You'll know it when you feel it, but you'll never feel it if you're like I was. So again, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I'm not putting the guilt on my ex-partners and ex-husbands, of which there are 3. I didn't know how to be open. I didn't know that my satisfaction mattered. I wasn't seeking it. Therefore, the level of realness that maybe could have happened otherwise couldn't happen. I'm taking the blame myself, but I'm then going to pass it on to the people who gave it to me. And that's you. Your moms, your grandmas, your religions. Not necessarily you watching right now, but all of you, society. And so we're going to change it because there are girls in this world I care about, including myself, and boys, and just from the sake of being the stance of being the mother of 3 boys, it's very important to me that their wives eventually or husbands want, you know, also feel the same way, want to get and give pleasure and satisfaction. Because if they don't, if I don't set society up to where that's a more easy thing to accomplish, then I risk more failed marriages, more dissatisfied people, more broken homes. So the way to make more solid homes is to stop putting unrealistic expectations on our children and ourselves. And by no means, I say again, because I've been slammed for this, I'm a slut now. It's like, I am not promiscuous. I won't say I'm the least promiscuous person, because I have had sex out of marriage. I have done it. I'm just saying, I'm not a promiscuous person. I'm a person who wants and thrives in one solid relationship. And my experience with good sex is that the more you do it with one person, the better it gets, if it's the right person. And I want everyone to find that. Not just sexual abuse survivors, but especially, that's where I come in. Because it's not as easy for us. It's not as easy for us. All that being said, there's a complication. And that's the one thing that's my sermon for today. The complication that I'm going to talk about is shame with pleasure. Someone like me, who was sexualized early. Because people think of abuse as being thrown down and raped and hurt and violated. And yeah, you are being violated and raped, but it creeps up when you're a child, and it develops over years of flirtation and touching and then crossing lines, and then you learn to compartmentalize. This is how it happened in a nice family. Because I knew that my virginity mattered. Even though my parents weren't wildly religious or anything, I still knew from society and the way I was taught that my purity and my virginity mattered. And I did not have it anymore. So what was I supposed to do? You lie. You lie and you fake it. You pretend to be perfect. I mean, God, I was honor society, cheerleading, tumbling team, won awards and prose and poetry and German poetry and all kinds of I had 21 music medals. I was kind of a golden girl, but I was also a geek, because I always associated and hung out with and liked the people who got made fun of because they had stinky boots. Because you know what? Some people have to work in the morning and have chores on farms in small towns. And I don't like to see people get made fun of. So I've always walked that line, and I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. I've still got people in my hometown calling me a communist. I'm a communist because I don't think Trump is the cat's pajamas, you know. I might have mixed metaphors. Is that really a metaphor? I mix them all the time. Sometimes I do it on purpose. Kind of a married with children thing I got onto. Thank you, Christina Applegate. I enjoy mixing metaphors. But I get off subject. So, I'm going to get close to wrapping up here. I'm going to take a peek at the notes that I never look at and see if there was anything else that I wanted to say today. Basically, we talked about, I don't know why women don't want to support the Equal Rights Amendment. I don't. And yay for the Equality Act. Thank God. People can be people, because the science does show that what is in your pants is not indicative of how you feel. How you feel as a male or a female is more to do with the combination of what's in your heart and your mind and what you see in society that appeals to you. So if you look around you and say, I identify with women, but I have a penis, then guess what? The science says you identify with females just as much as the fact that science says you have a penis. Therefore, we can reconcile those things now with modern medicine, if we should choose to. Get over it. That ship sailed. You're not going to take us back into the ancient days of archaic thought. And you're trying to, the Republicans are trying to, and we can't let this happen. We're not going to let this happen. Yes, I'm wildly progressive. Absolutely. Wildly progressive. Because that's only decent. That's decency. So, Chris, in my hometown, you vicious skank. You've always been a vicious skank. You were cruel to everyone, they followed you around out of fear, and they still do. A couple people still do, but you have nothing, do you? No life. No life at all. You just come on to abuse me and say I'm a communist and I'm a crazy nutcase. Because what? These people, they get knocked up. It's so funny. And then here's what I think. It's not funny, actually. It's pathetic, and it's indicative of a problem. And I think that there's something to learn here. It seems that the same women who themselves weren't virgins when they got married, then they get that guilt thing that we were all taught, that we all sucked up, no matter what our religious background was, just because we live in this society. And then they try to compensate by demanding more of their own children. They can prove their goodness by, my daughter's a virgin, my daughter is not a slut, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Trying out someone sexually before you buy them for life does not make you a slut. It makes you reasonable, right? I would never have sex with someone unless I was considering having, this is me, you do you. I'm not saying right or wrong. But for me, if I'm not already considering, like, if I don't already feel like I want to be around you, like, all the time, that I love who you are as a person, that I'm comfortable, all the things that align to make a relationship. If I don't feel those things, I'm not having sex anyway. It's not an issue. But I'd be damned if I'd ever even get married. I wouldn't even get married unless it's a tax advantage. I don't see any reason unless it's an insurance, financial tax advantage. Legal marriage is a bunch of bullshit, and that's another thing I got slammed for. So I'm going to throw that back on the table too, on my list of grievances that people have. Get over that too, okay? I love marriage. I would have a wedding to show my friends and family that we love each other. We're together. We've decided to be together. Yeah, that's lovely and bonding. But why I need to take a piece of paper to the courthouse if it doesn't involve insurance or taxes defies me. And I certainly, after being married and divorced 3 times, would not wish the paperwork on anybody. I got out of mine. I don't get anything. I've got no child support. Well, I got child support, but it's not coming. Hasn't in years. Actually, just started again because he got unemployment. Yay. So they're garnishing his unemployment, but I haven't got child support in over 10 years. And, I want better for other people. So making more careful decisions, including making sure that your own sexual satisfaction is in the mix, is important. So if that makes me a slut, okay. Whatever. Busy Bob. So, that being said, if you want to join our Survivor group, please sign up. The group is on this page, and we're actually going to start rolling with this. I have been working with people one-on-one. I really want to put together some Zoom sessions, though. So please message me if you want to get in on a Zoom session with others so we can basically share experiences and hash out a plan to save our children's futures from religious dogma and patriarchal control. So we don't have to live in fear, and we don't have to live under the thumbs of our fathers and our husbands. So, that being said, take my pledge. Where's my pledge? This is important. And if I did well, it's still on screen. Let's see. Pledge. Oh, wait. Okay, no. We're going to talk more about PTSD tomorrow. There's an article on here that I wanted to share with you. But we're going to do that tomorrow. So, be getting together tomorrow, 3 or 4-ish. It's hard for me to pin down. I'm going to pin down the time. Okay, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock tomorrow, for sure. Let's vote. 3 or 4. What works best? Message me 3 or 4 for our Monday through Fridays. Most days from now on. If I'm not going to be on, I'll tell you. But we're going to get going regularly, and I want to get some interaction going because we've got a society to fix and problems to solve. So the pledge: I will never again be ashamed of the sexual abuse I withstood in the past. Right? The shame belongs to your abusers. Who abused you is the shameful one, not you. There's nothing wrong with your body because a penis got inside of it against your will. Okay? There's not. Bodies are bodies. Okay? That's a psychological trip in your mind. If you're a rape victim, if you've got PTSD, and I do. It rolls around. Sometimes I go out in fields. I used to black out and just wake up places and not even know how I got there. When the pain got too heavy inside me, in my head, and I thought my brain would explode, you know. So, I get that. But you've got to get this. The shame belongs to your abuser, not you. And if you don't expose them, they're going to do it to someone else. So if you're even thinking about not exposing your abuser, don't. Get out there and do it. And look at your state. I found out that there's no statute of limitations in the state of Missouri, and I am suing my abuser, and I can't wait to do it. So number 1, the shame is not yours. Number 2, I will never again be ashamed of my sexual desire. I will work to uncouple my sexual desire, to uncouple my sexual yearnings from shame and fear. I will work to uncouple my sexual yearnings from shame and fear. And that's what I started to touch on earlier. I better expound a little on that. We're going to talk a lot more about this week too. Also tomorrow we'll talk more about this. But when you are sexualized early, as I started to say earlier and tangented off, body parts, genitalia feel good. If someone wants you to feel stimulated and you feel stimulated, it's still a quasi-pleasurable feeling. So now add in to that quasi-pleasurable feeling. This is the difference between being violently, forcibly raped and being inducted into becoming a child mistress. And this is the part that's hardest to write about and the most shameful, is that as much as I hate him, I had sensations, I had feelings, and they confused me. And when I became an adult, and this is where I tie in with all of my exes, where I say, don't take it personally, necessarily, you know, you could all learn to give better, but on the other hand, don't take it personally, because I coupled pleasurable sexual feelings with shame. So anytime I got into the realm of being sexually satisfied or pleased or stimulated, the shame came with it. It was part of it, to the point I didn't even know it. It just, now that I've made that realization, my life has changed. I'm in tears now, but they're really tears of joy. I've discovered heights of love and passion and satisfaction I didn't even know were possible. And I'm just grateful that I am capable of being a good partner to someone who's a good partner to me. And I want that for my children and for every woman. And for every woman in the world. That's why my business, feelgoodfairtrade.com, supports women artisans. There's also plenty of male artisans, but they're women-led businesses, communities, families of artisans, communities of artisans. We support many rescue groups, so please check out the highly curated and amazing products I sell on feelgoodfairtrade.com, and I can literally put you in touch with any of my artisans. You will meet the artisan on every product page. These are real women and families and communities, real people, and I need you right now to go to the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund on GoFundMe and on Facebook, and I need you to support it. And I'm setting up a subscription where you'll be able to donate as little as $4.99 a month from now on. By the end of the week, you'll be able to do that. I donate $5 a month to all kinds of things. Why not Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund? Will you do that? Will you? Please? Will you help me get women and girls in immediate crisis transportation out of it to safe houses, please? Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. Thank you. Again, I'm Linda K Gifford, and I am available for one-on-one life coaching. And I invite you to come back every day from now on. We're going to start at 3, and we'll see if that works best, or if we want to move it to 4. Message me the times that you like, and we'll go from there, okay? Buckle up. We're going to get real. Okay. You take care. Go have an orgasm. I order you.